It was 2 years ago, and it seemed as if the world was divided. It seemed as if our nation was divided. It even seemed as if our team was divided. We were divided over one question. What will you do during the National Anthem? See, I'll backtrack a little bit. If you'll remember, a man by the name of Colin Kaepernick had started to take a knee to protest social injustice. And I remember it like it was yesterday, some inflammatory words had been said in the media, and all the football players on every team were up in arms. Some guys were ready to raise fists. Other guys were gonna sit down. Other guys were gonna stay in the locker room. No one knew what to do. I remember like it was yesterday, we were leaving a chapel the night before the game, night before we played the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was walking out of chapel, headed to our team meeting, supposed to be a quick 5-minute team meeting, and all of a sudden I'm cornered by 3 individuals. Ryan Pace, general manager of the Chicago Bears, John Fox, at that time the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and George McCaskey, the chairman of the Chicago Bears. See, at that point, I thought my football career was over. They're gonna cut me, I'm done. What's going on? I'm sorry, I can do better, I promise. I can do better. They said, no, Sam, that's not why we're talking to you today. We have a question for you and we need to find a solution. What are you all going to do during tomorrow's game, during the National Anthem? My response was simple. First, Coach, thank you for not cutting me. Secondly, I don't know. I need to talk to the guys. Well, they asked the second question. George McCaskey specifically asked, he said, what should we do? What should we do? I said, well, Mr. McCaskey, Coach Fox has already told us his dad was a Navy SEAL. He told us what he would love to do, but he also understood the players' emotions, so he said he supported us 100%. Ryan Pace was in that same category. The general manager supported us. So I said, George, if you support us and you're here at the team meeting, which you never come to, you should let us know that you support us. So George says, okay, and we go to the meeting and he kind of sheepishly comes up to the front. And anybody who knows George McCaskey, he's very reserved and quiet, an unbelievable man, but doesn't like being up in front of cameras. And he says, men, he says, I will support you in whatever decision you make, but my one request in whatever you do it together. So what should have been a 5-minute meeting, and then usually we go and we might watch a little bit of film, eat some ice cream, get some sleep, turned into 3 or 4 more hours of individual meetings with players in the elevator, in the hallway, in different guys' rooms, meeting to answer this one question, to find a solution to this one problem. What will we do during the National Anthem? We had guys who had played for the St. Louis Rams when there was some tragedy that struck there, and one of the guys said, man, I'm taking a knee no matter what. There was injustice that went on there, and I didn't protest, and I'm protesting no matter what. We had other guys who said, man, guys from Pensacola, Florida, says, hey, I put my hand over my heart no matter what. No matter what. We were divided. Go to sleep that night, wake up the next morning, walk into the locker room, and all eyes were on me. Josh Sitton, our Pro Bowl offensive guard, looks at me as soon as I walk in and says, Sam, what's the plan? I could feel their eyes piercing on me, everyone looking, what's the plan? My response, we're gonna lock arms. The sign of unity, a sign of togetherness, a sign that we are and will always be a team. we're gonna lock arms. So we lock arms, we go on, we actually win the game. The Steelers on the other side had some guys, they looked in disarray. Some guys stayed in the locker room, some guys stayed out. Other guys had their hand over their heart, other guys didn't even show up at all. We win the game, go back to the locker room, and I'm sitting in my locker relieved that that day was finally over. And George McCaskey comes to my locker. And this time I'm like, I'm really done. Like, I'm like, days as a Bear are over. I'm sorry, George, it wasn't my idea, right? He sticks his hand out. I'm thinking this is goodbye, right? Nice knowing you. He sticks his hand out and says, Sam, I'm proud of the way that you handled that situation. But I don't want this to be the last time we talk about these issues. If this is something that you care about and that you and your teammates are passionate about, let's find an answer. Let's find a solution. And that simple conversation, that simple request led to a relationship where George and I would do ride-alongs with the police in District 7. We went to prisons in the state of Illinois and out of the state of Illinois. We even went to a hip-hop concert of this guy who's a very socially conscious rapper. And as we continued this journey, it led us to the By the Hand Club for Kids. I got a chance to sit down with some of the kids and get a chance to know them. Last year, we did peace circles. We sat in circles. People like Azaria, who actually is my table host, 13 years old, brilliant. Brilliant. One of the smartest kids I've ever met. People like Amir, quiet, doesn't talk very much, but once you get him to open up, he lights the room up. People like Devontae, who I saw earlier, loves playing his video games, but doesn't like losing. People like Keith, unbelievable athlete. People like Nivea, Azaria's best friend, and they're attached at the hip. I see you. Hey, Nivea. I got a chance to sit with these students, and I got a chance to get up close and personal and understand I found the solution. I found the answer. That time led our team to this point where we got together this social justice initiative, a committee consisting of a few players and a few staff members who got the team together to raise some money and say, let's put this money towards a solution. And as we kept on searching, we met with the Chicago Crime Lab, met with different organizations, and we searched and we searched and we searched and we searched and we searched. And we kept on coming back to the By the Hand Club for Kids. You know, it's funny, just a few weeks ago, I got a call from Ryan Pace, the general manager of the Chicago Bears, and Matt Nagy, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and that was the call that I'd been fearing years before, right? Sam, we're gonna release you. You're no longer a Bear. 3-4 weeks ago. And it's funny what happens when tragedy strikes. It brought me to that question, like, what do you do when tragedy strikes? Lose a job, lose a loved one, lose a marriage. What happens? What do you think of when tragedy strikes? And for me, just a few weeks ago, the first thing I thought of as soon as I hung up that phone was my team. And when I say my team, it's not the Chicago Bears. I thought of Azaria, thought of Nivea, I thought of Keith, thought of Amir, thought of Devontae, I thought of Josh, my team. See what had happened, there's a verse in the Bible that says, give and it'll be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And what had happened is I didn't realize during my time spending time with my team, Azaria, Nivea, Carl, Devontae, Josh, I'd been giving of myself, my time, giving of my money with the team. We got 44 out of 53 guys, 90% of our team gave money to this social justice cause. 90%. we had been giving of our time, of our talents, of our resources. And what I didn't realize is the truth. God talks about, you reap in Galatians 6, 7, and 8, it says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. You reap what you sow. We had been sowing and sowing and sowing. And all of a sudden, in a day that was pretty devastating for me, I'd never been cut before, never been released, hadn't really suffered tragedy like that. But the one thing I had, and the one thing I still have, was my team. You see, it's funny, what we're talking about here is finding the solution, and if, just in case you all don't know, we found it. We have found the solution. So you don't have to look any further outside of this room. You don't have to look anywhere else. We have found the solution. What we cared about on our team, we said, we want to see the youth in Chicago. We want to see youth, education, police community relations. That's what we care about in this city of Chicago. What, where, who can help that? And the answer, the solution is right here. The By the Hand Club for Kids. So my request, my ask, as soon as I finish, I'm in my seat, is that you would invest. That you would invest, that you would give. And it's not just a one-way street. That's the thing people don't understand. I'm saying give, but here's the tail end. You give, and what? It'll be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I'm a living witness. Give, give, give. Your time, your money, your resources, and God will reward you. Thank you.